afternoon, good evening. How are you all keeping? Oh, geez, I got something in my head there. I don't know what that is. No, nuts. Welcome to Pepper's Echo. My name's Andre, and good to have you here. For those of you watching live, thank you very much. For those who are watching on the rerun, kudos to you too. Super shot. So yeah, usually sometimes we do some news and views, although I have been taking Pepper's Echo on a different tangent of late. Tonight is going to be no different, but first things first, naturally, please don't forget to like and subscribe and ring the bell so that you can be notified of the notifications of the next Pepper's Echo as we go along. And yes, do like, subscribe, and share, because that's the only way that I do seem to be able to get my streams out there. If there is anything that you would like to discuss, and it can be absolutely anything, doesn't have to be news, doesn't have to be political, doesn't have to be life skills, life coaching, it doesn't have to be religious, it can be absolutely anything that you would like to speak about or chat about or talk about. Please drop me a line on Pepper's Echo, PEPRSECHO @gmail.com. Yeah, no double P, no E. That is correct. Drop me a line if you'd like to come onto the show. I would love to have the ordinary man in the street taking a look at the show as there. Linda, absolutely my anchor, my rock. I hope I'm not going to anger anyone tonight, but thank you very much. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for always being here. I'm hopefully not going to keep anyone up too late. I'm going to make it a bit of a short show because I have quite a bit of work to do this evening as well. Sadly, I have to go back to work tomorrow as well. Not that I've been off work, but we have had a nice long weekend. It has, what's the King's Commemoration Day has been on Friday, so we had a nice long weekend from that. But yeah, and I'm wanting to deal with a couple of things. You know, we've been dealing with a little bit of life coaching, a little bit of life here, and I quite like dealing with life. So it has put some people off, and I think tonight it is going to be true to some. It is going to be controversial to others, and it's going to be questionable to the rest. I suppose that's why my streams are not actually reaching what it should reach. It's not actually going anywhere very fast or anything to that effect, because tonight I'm going to probably be balancing it on a balance of religion, but more as well as trying to tell you something that actually came out of it. And it actually came out of a sign that I saw, and it wasn't an epiphany, it's an actual sign. I'll show you what it is as we go along. But it's something that I saw, and I figured, oh, that's questionable. And then I can apply it to life, because we've spoken about being grateful. We've spoken about sometimes being afraid of being happy. And it's that to this very day is something that I'm fighting against very much, because next week is Move Week. So hopefully I still get to actually do a Pepper's Echo, because next Sunday is Move Sunday, but I'm sure we will do a Pepper's Echo next Sunday. Tell you how the move went. But I'm still afraid. You know what? I'm afraid of the fact of being happy about something, being happy about being able to gain a house and to talk about it and to be excited about it is going to come across as arrogant. And hello, Paula Grandma, how are you this afternoon? So I do live still, and you know what? You should be able to be happy about things, especially if you put the work in. And I think I do put the effort in. I think people sell themselves short, and I think that is something that we will actually discuss one echo that comes along as well. Is you know what? How do I put myself first for a change? Because I'm also one of those that, you know what? Whatever happens, keep the peace. I'll be second best. Doesn't matter. You know what? If I achieved something, please just make me second. Sometimes you've got to be able to stand up and say thank you. But we'll get to that point on another echo as we go along. This echo at the moment As I said, it's going to be controversial for some. It is going to be questionable for others, and it is going to be truth for many. It's up to you how you see it. Now, I'm not forcing any form of religion down your throat at the moment, although today I have backed a lot with Christianity and a little bit of personal on that. Question being, I want to fix something in my life. Have faith. I want to do something. I want to achieve something. Have faith. Now, be it in whatever, be your God or your deity, be it whichever religion you are, whichever belief you are. I do believe that everybody has some form of belief, that you believe in something or someone or some being somewhere along the line. I don't believe that anyone just gives it up to nothing. I may be wrong. If you feel differently, I'm not yet to challenge your thoughts or your feelings at all. I'm just giving you my perceived point of view. However, I believe once again that we want to make changes in our life. I want to be confident in my life. I want to be happy in my life. I want to allow myself to be happy in my life. I want to accept the fact that I can be, as we spoke last week, the reason, and I'm content with being the reason, but I'm content with achieving being the reason so that an achievement can be made. Not because I put myself there, because that is what I am. Jonathan. Okay? But, and I have said this twice already on Pepper's Echo, and I'm going to tell you the story again on Pepper's Echo, so please don't go bananas when I tell you this one again. Dude prays, says, Lord, there's $100 million lottery at the end of this year. I have lived an almost perfect life, and I promise you that you will not be able to fault me on my life further on from here. Let me win that $100 million. This guy was a very good guy. He lived the closest life to perfection ever. He was at church every Sunday. He was at prayers. He helped in kitchens. He never swore. His thoughts were clean. His deeds were clean. His example was perfect. He lived the closest to perfection that you can get. Obviously, no one lives a perfect life. We are human beings. But, and that is how it went on. And obviously, he had already been pretty close to perfection. And then when he did this prayer for the beginning of the year, for the end of the year, he was at ease because, hey, I have now given my prayer. I have lived my life to your perfection. I will win the lottery. He had full faith and full belief in that. He had no question, no doubt. His faith was greater than a mustard seed. And it got to lottery night, and the winner is, and it was somebody else. He didn't even come close. He was exceptionally angry with the Lord. Ran outside and how dare you? How dare you? One thing I've asked you. You know I would have done good. You know I would have taken, and that money would not have been wasted on me. I would have done more than what you could have thought that anybody else would have done with that money. This is ridiculous. And he threw an absolute tantrum. And eventually he heard a voice coming from the top and said, come on, buddy, give me a break. You didn't even buy a ticket. If you want to win the lottery in life, you need to buy a ticket. You need to buy a ticket. But Linda, we can ask for anything, but God can say no. Yes. We were all parents. And you would do anything for your children. I agree. But you've got to buy a ticket. Let me show you the sign that I saw. You can pray all you want, but eventually David had to pick up a stone and act against Goliath. And this is what I'm trying to say to you in your life as well. You can pray all you like. You can believe in medicine. You can believe in whatever. But if you don't do something about it, at first I looked at this and I thought, whoa, that's atheist. You basically saying, forget about faith, but if I don't do something about it, it's not going to work. And then I thought, no, let's take a look at this again. And it's true. You can do everything in faith. Whether you have faith in medicine, whether you have faith in God, whether you have faith in any of your deity, whatever, you will not reach your goal. You will not become anything. Yeah, that's pretty good. I like that one too in the end. And I saw the people's comment on it. You've got to buy a ticket, guys. If you're depressed, no, I'm first guy to tell you, I'm not ashamed. I used to be. I ended up in hospital for 2-3 weeks. Psych ward. No, it wasn't psychotic. I was just had a bit of a breakdown. And I take depression tabs every single day of my life. But those tabs are not going to make me any better. They are not going to do the trick. They are not going to get my job done. They are not going to get my life running. Even on the bad days. On the good days, great. On the bad days, they are not going to be the difference to me. I've got to buy a ticket. I need to pick up the stone. Goliath is not going to be slain for me. I really like that. Your Goliath. I don't know if you've seen the movie Facing the Giants. If you have not, I strongly suggest you actually pull it out and take a look at it somewhere along the line. I think it might even be on Netflix. But Facing the Giants, absolutely stunning movie as well. Your giant, your Goliath. You've got to do something about it. You've got to do something about your fear. You've got to overcome that. You've got to make decisions. Something I fell back on, which I was doing very, very well at one stage. There was a lady who said, and once again, we'll talk about decisions in one of the other streams and episodes as well. But you decide to wake up in the morning at 5 o'clock. It's a decision you make. And if you don't get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, you've made a decision. You've made a decision to stay down. So don't, in the rest of the day, go, you know what, I should have woken up early. I wish I can wake up early. Make the decision and get up. She says it's a matter of a couple of seconds when you're standing there feeling grouchy, blah, blah, blah. Once you get into the groove of doing whatever you need to do, it eventually comes easier by the day. But you are going to lose out on what you are wanting to achieve with your life. I know you look at me and say, but Andre, are things not going a little bit better than what you expected at around about this time in your life? Yes, they are. They are. I'm very, very fortunate. And somebody said to me the other day, I said, I'm so blessed. And I said, whoa, please just don't say blessed. It's such a cliche. It's everybody just uses I'm blessed. And I thought, oh, that's so sad. That is so sad that you cannot even say I'm blessed. Sorry. You cannot even say I'm blessed in this day. And it's a cliche. Because I really do feel. I'm afraid at the same time to be able to say I'm blessed because just now it gets taken away. But that self-sabotage thing, we'll talk about that another day as well. What I'm wanting to talk about now is if you are wanting to fight depression, if you are wanting to fight anxiety, if you are wanting to fight where you're struggling, pick up a stone, buy a ticket. I actually went a little biblical, and this is where I think that people might be whacking me. Doers, not healers. Is this John? Let me just quickly get that for you. James 1, verse 22. Sorry. James 1, verse 22. New King James. Let me just put it in there for you. Sorry. Whoop. And I can present it again. There we go. James 1 verse 22. Doers, not hearers. Even biblically it says, doers, not hearers. Therefore, lay aside all filthiness and overflow of wickedness, and receive with meekness the implanted word, which is able to save our souls. But the doers of the word and not hearers only deceive yourselves. But be, my mistake. But be doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves. For if anyone is a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like a man observing his natural face in a mirror. For he observes himself, goes away, and immediately forgets what kind of man he was. But he who looks in the perfect law of liberty and continues in it, and is not a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the work, this one will be blessed in what he does. If anyone amongst you thinks he is religious and does not bridle his tongue, but deceives his own heart, this one's religion is useless. Pure and undefiled religion before God and the Father is this: to visit orphans and widows in the trouble and keep oneself unspotted from the world. Okay, now please, guys, I am not a minister and I'm not perfect. Okay, I struggle myself every day with, as I said, a depression. Nothing wrong with biblical. Thank you very much, Paula Grandma. I appreciate that. And as I said, please adapt it as you feel necessary. I adapt this because it's what I know. You know what? If somebody was a sailor, they would be telling it as stories from the sea. If you, whatever. So it's what I know. It's what I believe in. It's what my heart belongs to. And I wanted to be able to put it through to you that you need to do something in your life. You need to pick up that stone. And it says doers are the ones and not hearers. And something that's pretty... Let's get this up again, yeah, a little bit higher. Something that's pretty harsh for me, and this is why I say I am not a teacher that speaks to you. I am a student that is learning, and I'm sharing my experience with you, if I can say it that way. So I'm not trying to tell you anything. I really would love your inputs and your feelings and your looks, and sometimes you would show me things right as well. But I like the fact here, what it says. He is like a man observing his natural face in the mirror. For he observes himself, goes away, and immediately forgets what kind of man he was. And, you know, I struggle with that sometimes. And I think we all do because, or not we all do, but many people do, where we like, this is what I'm going to do. You've done your little motivation dance, or you've said your prayers and whatever, or you've given yourself the haka and whatever, and I'm going to do it. And as you walk out the door and you start facing the challenges of the day, the Goliaths, your giants, you forget. You forget about the man in the mirror, the one that was the doer, and you became a hearer. You forget about the stones, the sling, you forget about the ticket. Talents. We all have talents. Talents are often seen as a monetary version. And I'm going to go back to the biblical version of talents as well, where there were the guys in the grapevine, and I'll give you the piece now as well, the guys in the grapevine. So talents is where the guy, let's go on quickly. Parable of the talents is Matthew 25, verse 14 to 30. And Jesus tells a parable. A parable is a story from which we learn something. And he gives, he says, he gives each slave an amount of money. He talks about a rich man and these three slaves of his, or servants, or whatever you want to call them. He gives them an amount of money, referred to as talents. Possibly talents of gold, based upon the man's ability to be a steward and care for the money. So he takes his most trusted man and he gives him 5 talents. The second one he gives 2 talents, and the third one he gives 1 talent to. And we see that obviously in the parable of monetary wise. And he told him to take care of his money, and he went off and he became king of a faraway land, and he came back again. And he told them, so the first two servants used the talents. When he came back, the master told him to take care of his money. The first two servants used the talent to trade and gain profit. So the one, I don't know, traded this way, and the other one bought and sold things and that. But they returned double their talents. The third servant, he feared to use his talent, and he hid his talent. I think he dug a hole, if you read the story, the parable. And he returned with just his one talent. And the master was furious with him. He scolded him, saying that he should have at least invested it in the bank. He would have at least received some form of interest. He would have increased a little bit. But he didn't even increase that talent a little bit. And that is so often with ourselves. We are afraid to use our talents because sometimes we are wanting to be humble people, which is a good trait to have. It's not a talent, it's a trait. Being humble is good. It's good to be humble. You don't have to be an arrogant, throw yourself around all the time, tantrum. I know a lady who's such a tantrum thrower, it's just not funny, and she does to get away, but she's the most disliked person I know. The friends she has are as poisonous as what she is. Good people that she could have friends do not like her at all. They will not do anything for her. They speak behind her back and avoid her. Humble is a good trait. Being afraid to be arrogant keeps something in our way, because we don't want to be arrogant, but you need to be able to use your talent. You were given gifts, whether it be drawing, writing, speaking, helping. You don't have to be talented in any of your church, your charity, your whatever. You can be talented in anything, and just the type of person you are, to bring that out and to actually exercise it actually means that you are doing something with it. You will be rewarded for it. You picked up the stone to take your talent that you could do with a sling to actually slay your giant. You don't have to be a man of the cloth. You don't have to be a preacher. But you have to use your talent, which means you have to make a move. Depression, anxiety, frustration, loneliness, struggling. I don't struggle now that much. So yes, it's easier speaking, but I've had to move out of a 3-bedroom house into a 2-bedroom apartment, no balcony or anything like that, with 3 children, sell half of my furniture to make it through before. In Pretoria, I had to move from Pier van Ryneveld to, I think it's Littleton. I remember those days. I was carrying out my cane furniture because we had a TV room and everything in the whole toots, and job was gone. And then what? Then what happens? Then you lose everything in the process. And I would say probably around about the time of my newfound faith, I watched a big turning point for me was Louis Malherbe, Success, Mislukking en Motivering, Success en Mislukking. It's only in Afrikaans, sorry, but yeah, it was brilliant. But you got to do something. So what did I do? Things were going tough. I got a job that was like probably half the salary of what I was. I had to drive around. I had a car that was breaking on me all the time. I'd made a bad decision. I sold a perfectly good car and bought a broken car. Because why? Because my own ego wanted me to have a bigger, smarter car. I had a nice little City Golf, bought brand new, and I sold it, got money back for it as well, and bought a Hyundai Elantra, old thing. Nothing wrong with a Hyundai, by the way, if you drive a Hyundai. But I bought an old one that was broken. It popped and jammed, and it was ridiculous. So I had to make decisions, and I didn't sit there going, "Well, the money's going to come in." I had to sell stuff. I had to sell stuff that we would have liked to have kept. to sell computer stuff. I had to sell furniture, moving to a smaller flat, sell my wife's car. Eventually we bought oh man, it was a absolute heap of hope you go somewhere, but it probably went better than the car I had because, you know what? We kept on just looking and doing and looking and doing, and I think that is what pulled me through there without even realizing it. And sometimes time's not ready. I've lived in a one-bedroom apartment for 3 years now, and I haven't looked at it as living in a one-bedroom apartment. I've looked at it as being so fortunate. Let's take a look at another scene of not having to be a clergy or a, you know what, being able to do your trade, your trick. You know, pick up your stone. You know, you don't have to go to the church or the NGO or the charity work or something to that effect. Pick up your stone. You know what? If you've got to make a decision to get up that morning to go and exercise so that you can go and do accounts, and you're not well with it, or you need to learn and you've got to get an online course to do it, or you've got to go and find some way to motivate yourself, or etc. Pick up your stone and do it. Get your ticket. There's a famous scene in the movie Chariots of Fire. If you haven't seen Chariots of Fire, it's an old movie. It comes from the 80s, but it's really well worth seeing. It's a brilliant movie. Where the future Olympian, Eric Liddell, he feels a tension between his chance to be an Olympic runner and his calling to be a missionary in China. And eventually he tells his sister he will go to the Olympics and then to the mission field because both honor God. God made me for a purpose, for China, Liddell says. But he also made me fast. And when I run, I feel his pleasure. To give up would be to hold him in contempt. So sometimes, if you're good with numbers, do number crunching. You don't have to number crunch for the church. Be the person of doing an honest number crunch. If you're good at speaking, do public speaking, do motivating, do weddings, whatever. If you're good at working with your hands, do things with your hands, but do it. Stop putting it off. Stop not wanting to read that book because you don't know when you're going to finish it. If you're going to read again, how long it's going to take you to read. I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish reading this book. It might be too difficult for me. I don't know if I'll have the time to read it, so I'm not going to start reading the book. Pick it up. Pick up your stone. You know what? I need to lose some weight, or I need to do some exercise. Pick up your stone. Walk to the gate and back every morning. You don't need to go running 5Ks today. Go fetch the post. Then you'll start losing weight. God's not going to pull it off you. You don't have work, especially in South Africa. It's really, really hard. Let me tell you, in Cambodia, it's got one of the lowest unemployment rates that there are, but it's got one of the highest amount of people living under the breadline. But I do not see many beggars, definitely not at the traffic lights. They make a plan. People make a plan. I drive down the street in the evening and I say, thank you, Lord. Thank you for what I have. Because I see them with little lights, with little tables, with little things in their little basket that they're sitting next to the road with selling still. People buy shop houses here. It's a house, I think I told you last week about it. It's a house it's a long, elongated house. And at the bottom, there's like a garage door in the front. And then you open that, and then you can make your shop in there. And then it's got 2 stories on top of it. And that's where you stay. So you stay above your little shop. And they're like all connected. It's like in the business area, it's just like rows and rows and rows of shop houses. They're all connected like cluster homes. So there's like nothing in between. It's just like each one's got like a little garage in front of it. Some are restaurants. Some take the garage door off and put like nice little glass or sliding doors in front of it or whatever. Some make a little supermarket. Others are hardware stores. Others are just a little cafe with everything in there. But they do something about it. Let's take a look. I often have that problem with starting a thing is I fear failure. It's my exact problem. My exact problem, I do not start. Why am I sitting with work to do tonight? Because I didn't want to start it off this weekend. I don't want to start it. Why am I sitting with so much to do at work? Because I didn't get it started when I should have. Because I'm afraid I won't finish it. Why don't I want to build this? Why don't I want to put this together? People, we've got to put away these fears and pick up that stone. What you do, you don't have to be a missionary. You don't have to be a charity worker. You just need to use your talent. I have a problem. Polygramma. It's basically it's a perfectionist streak, and I know everyone looks at me and goes, Andre, you a perfectionist? Yeah, no, I'm not a perfectionist, but it becomes a perfectionist streak when you need to know where something starts and where it ends, and you need to know how it's going to work. So when I can see A to Z and everything between, then I'll take it on. But if not, I have a terrible problem, which I've got to get over. I've got to pick up that stone myself. And you've got to learn to do that. And the only way to do that is, once again, buy your ticket, pick up the stone, because you can believe as much as what you want to. If you don't use the talent, it's not going to get there. And, you're either going to make the decision, I'm going to read, or I'm not going to read. But it's pointless going, I want to. I'm going to lose weight, or I'm not going to lose weight. I want to. There's something I always tell my wife when we're talking, especially when budgeting that. Well, we'll just have to. Well, I'll just have to doesn't work. What are you going to do? I'm going to do this, and then you've got to do it. And sometimes you've got to start something without knowing where it's going to end, because sometimes you just need to adapt. Give you an example. When a plane takes off, it takes off on time. Well, maybe not SAA. No, I'm kidding. Okay. Yeah, I'm facetious on South Africa tonight. I'm sorry. But when a plane takes off, it's got to take off on time. You know what? Everybody's in the plane. There is an action that needs to be taken. It takes off. It's flying from A to B or A to C, whatever. But it takes off on time. So you take off with all intentions of flying to that destination. Do you know that most of the journey, the plane is off course? There's different currents, different things, different situations that affect the plane that need to be changed along the way. That's why sometimes a flight is faster, sometimes a flight is slower. Because at different times, the plane is off course, and they've got to make adjustments to put the plane back on course again and to get it in that direction, or to avoid maybe turbulence, or drop the height, or lift the height, drop the speed, increase the speed, whatever. And that's what we've got to learn to actually put into our lives. By picking up the stone, we've got to take off and accept the fact that we are not always going to be on course. Once you can, and I know this is the most frustrating part for me is I need to be content with the fact that I need to change course as I go along. Take off. Even if I need to change course as I go along, at least take off and fly. Otherwise, you're never going to be an eagle, Andre. You're going to be this chicken on the flippin' farm ground for the rest of your life. Take off and fly and keep adjusting to get your destination. If this, Dave Evans, bless his soul, I don't know if he's still around, once said to me, he says, never regret a decision you've made. Make decisions. And if you feel that you've made the wrong decision, never regret it. Make a better one, or make another one. Don't have to be a better one. Just a quick one. There's also the good servant, Matthew 24:45-51. Who then is the faithful and wise servant, whom the master has put in charge of the servants in his household, and to give him their food in their proper time? Now that is you putting out your talent there. Hey, Busy, so good to see you. Trust things are going in the right direction and that you're also taking off and flying. Lovely to have you on here. Okay, so it would be good that the servant, so you're actually, what you do with your talent is actually you putting the person in, you're putting that person in. You know what? If you're a number cruncher and you're doing accounting, you're helping the person that you're accounting for. The type of person or how you do it is your integrity. You will get fired if you do it wrong, but if you do it right, you will get promoted. Even if you are the reason, sometimes the reasons do go up the line. If you're not the hero, you might be the reason. It'll be good for that servant whose master finds him doing so when he returns. But truly, I tell you, he will put him in charge of all his possessions. So you'll get more responsibility. Isn't that what we tend to do with people as well? The better they do, the more the responsibility. And then he begins to beat, but then if the servant then begins to beat his fellow servants, eat and drink with drunkards. So this is when you end up being a little too arrogant. This starts, you know what we always say, it goes to your head. So that's why I say humble is right, but please enjoy your achievements. Enjoy your small achievements. Where we're looking, Polygram. What I found sometimes is that when you know what, if it's a book that I need to read. Oh, it's not here. I told my wife not to pack. She's packing everything. I can't find a thing anymore. She just packs. But anyway, so what? You didn't get to do much this week, but don't look around at what I didn't get to do. Take a look. I started reading my book. I completed that. I had a busy week and I handled it, although I was afraid for at least almost every morning going to work. But it came down that I got it done. Celebrate your achievements. We're not saying be arrogant, but allow yourself to enjoy, to feel good. We are so tight into beating ourselves up and just don't be too arrogant. Don't lift the head up. You know what? I can't do that. You know what? Because I started reading the book and I haven't done it now for the next 3 weeks, or I started on my diet and now I've been cheating for the last 2 weeks, or I was going to exercise, I ran 2 days and now for the last month I haven't run it. Don't do it. Yeah, the joys of moving, thanks, yeah. But yeah, if he does that, so he starts drinking with drunkards and that, the master of the servant will come down one day when he doesn't expect him, at his hour that he's not aware of. He will cut him to pieces, assign him a place for the hypocrites, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Basically an easier way of saying go to hell. But what I'm saying is, don't be afraid of achieving. Arrogance, yes, if you start mistreating people, standing on people, but just doing your talent, using your God-given talent. Please, guys, and this is what I fight for myself as well, is let's use it. Last one as well is the parable of the 10 virgins. Now, I'm not going to read through the whole thing. Matthew 25, 1 to 13. 10 virgins with their lamps were waiting for the bride and the bridegroom to come, or for the bride. And 5 of them were wise. They had to use their head, and they brought extra oil with them. Bridegroom was late. They didn't know when he's coming. They fell asleep. They woke up at midnight or something to that effect. And the lamps were out, and the 5 wise, they filled up their little lamps with their spare oil and lit it. And the 5 ones who didn't said, whoa, hang on a second. Don't you want to help us out with like some oil? And they said, hang on, you know what? We did this for a reason, so that we could have oil for this. You better go and buy some. And while they were out buying, the bride came and everyone went in and they closed the doors. And when they knocked, they said, please open. And it did not get opened for them. Don't be afraid to use your talent. Doesn't matter. As you saw what the chap, true story, by the way, the Chariots of Fire one. Don't be afraid when he says, you know what? I was given the talent. He made me fast. You know what? He made me clever with numbers. He made me clever with my hands. He gave me a heart. He gave me an ability to speak. He gave me an ability to deal with people. It's fine. Have a humble heart. But I'm going to leave you with this. Make a move. Make a move. And you might not do it, but try and make a decision to make your move consistently, guys. Whether it's, if you are so depressed, get out of bed in the morning. I get quite hectic when I'm stuck in the apartment, because the apartment is small. So it's sort of like the walls start crawling up onto me, and I've just got to get out, or I just go to sleep. I think a lot of you know that sometimes to escape, you just tend to want to go to sleep, and hopefully your problems go away. Now, fortunately, I have not developed a drinking problem. I go to sleep. I have a sleeping problem, so I don't drink my troubles away. I sleep them away. No, but anyway, whichever. But instead, just get up and go out. Take a walk out. Walk around the building. I found, whatever. Walk to the store. Yes, it costs me a little bit of money because I always go and buy something there and come back again. But it gets me out. I'm suddenly feeling like, wow, you know what? I did it. There's nothing worse than the disappointment of not having made that move. Yeah, Linda, I feel you 100%. I do that. That's why I say I don't have a drinking problem, but I sleep to escape as well. When things get worse, the worse things get, the more I start just also. It sort of takes you away from reality. It's a drug almost, except we don't pop it into our vein. We pop it into bed. Definitely, I do that too. And we've got to move away. We've got to make a decision. We've got to realize. We've got to be cognizant. And that's what I'm hoping to deal with everybody that's on Pepper's Echo's journey, is let's deal with life. You know what? Next week, I'm not a changed man. As I said to you guys, I am not a teacher. I am a student sharing my experience with you. And I think, we have learned, or not learned, we've spoken about being grateful. We can be content that we are grateful for what we have, but that does not mean that we cannot strive for more or want to get more. You know what? A greedy want, I agree, is something that is yes. I'm I'm a hectic work in progress, because I break down every now and again as well, and I'm disappointed in myself. But I think we got to the fact where allow yourself, be grateful, but allow yourself to know that you can go further. But also allow yourself to know that often the effort that you are putting in is not going to be the hero, but you are going to enable something in the end. You're very special. Thanks, Buzz. You're really good, and I want to be talking to you. I want to be on your show sometime, and I want you on the show sometime, and I want to get all of us on the show sometime as well. But it's really important. We went through being grateful. Stop being afraid of being happy. We are so afraid. And it's something I fight against daily, is accepting a victory. Dare I go, yes, something's going to go wrong. Dare I go, wow, this is great. Something's going to go wrong. So I just want to avoid any form of happiness in thing. I'm really grateful this. I'll just stay down here. No, you're allowed to bloom. You're allowed to go out, and you're allowed to look for better. You're allowed to attempt. You know what? And I think Linda said in the beginning, we can ask for anything, but often God says no. Often it's not the right time. I told you my whole thing of moving to wanting to move to New Zealand, and the whole thing it took me from having all the money to actually do that to having nothing. And then I got to move to Cambodia. And so much has been done for me, but still I doubt. Guys, together, we will do it. Together, we will talk about it. Together, we will have fun. Together, we're going to encourage each other. And I hope I can motivate you, if anything, just that much, because I'm trying to motivate myself as well, to say to you, you know what, this week, make a move, make a decision. I challenge you to make a decision, to make a move this week. And at the end of this week, don't look at what you didn't move, but look at what you moved. Let's see, it's called brainwashing and conditioning. We must break the shackles and allow yourself to be you. That contentment, that And then you can actually do something. It's like I always, when I start something, I've got to get this finished. That's why I say to you, I can't do fine work because it takes too long. And then I think to myself, you know what? Start quietly. And it's happened for me a few times where I've started just quietly and said, you know, this isn't going to finish in 5 minutes. This is going to take an hour or two, but just quietly work with it. Because if it doesn't finish now, this is not worth doing. Andre, chill, bro, chill. Just breathe. So this week, just breathe. I challenge you to breathe and make a move and allow yourself to move. Do not damage yourself. Do not hold yourself accountable. Do not flog yourself. Just move. Breathe. Pick up a stone. Even if you don't slay your Goliath, even if you don't beat your giant, face him this week. Pick up a stone. Let's get back to that first one. And I'm going to leave us on this one over here because I'm just starting to yak and yak and yak, and I don't want to do that. But I'm going to leave you with this one over here. It says, you can pray all you want, but eventually David had to pick up a stone and act against Goliath. My prayer for you this week is that you find your stone. Oops, why am I putting this up? WhatsApp you? Yes, I will. I don't have a WhatsApp number for you. If you drop me a message, a messenger, or you can drop me a mail. Thanks, Grandma. You can drop me a mail at peppersecho@gmail.com, PEPRSECHO@gmail.com, or you can drop it to me on the messenger on Pepper's Echo page. You can give me a number. I will drop you my number with my WhatsApp with my number and everything on as well, so that you've got a WhatsApp there. So not a problem at all. Guys, thank you so much for, how should I say, for being there for me. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't feel as good at the end of the evening either. So thank you for being there for me. I hope I can be there for you a little bit as well sometimes, and I hope we can go through the rest of the week. God bless. Take a good look at moving this week. Yeah, thanks, Buzz. And look after yourselves. Do your work to the best of your ability. Use your talent and celebrate it. When you get something right, celebrate it. You know, small little things. If you make your husband smile, celebrate it. If he makes you smile, celebrate it. When you find a parking, yoo-hoo! Victory! Guys, take care. Be good. And remember, if you can't be good, be kind. Cheers.